Welcome back to the podcast. We're going to discuss more of what's up here. And I know it's been a minute since I've been on, but I do have interesting things going on with back issues, work, life. I have been talking a lot about social media and the advertisement game and how there's a lot of these things online that really aren't so pertinent. Kind of like in that reaction video we did about the social dilemma, there's a lot of thoughts that surface. So I've been trying to take some action regarding that. So namely Facebook. Facebook is one of these monster programs that essentially kind of is at a point where it's make or break. Like a lot of the things, if you don't pay attention to it, as it's constantly updating. I mean, they don't have as many employees as they have without making all these different adjustments in the background that, day in, day out, you kind of just take it for granted, or you were just not paying attention and you don't notice it slowly but surely. But things have changed very dramatically in the last couple of years. For the whole course of the years, I've been on there for probably 12 years now, 13 years maybe. And the fact of the matter is, advertisements and social media and what television was to how it is now, the master plan of how to advertise to us is just so obnoxious. So first, what I do is I very much have been trying to limit how I respond to my phone. And I don't know if you guys have had things like this happen too, but namely, I've gotten so many side messages via like my Google Hangouts account, even SMS messages, like being thrown into a big assortment group of phone numbers that none of them are even in my contacts list, with no option of deleting myself from them. And just like really random calls to action via my phone and technology that seem to just come out of nowhere. Now, I've felt for different reasons and different times that I've been, targeted at a different level just because of some of my previous content and associations and big business and, what I've been trying to say through a good amount of my life, or a good amount of my life here online, rather. I have to kind of treat my YouTube channel as it's fun to be able to go to the old channel and look back at like certain segments of my life and what it looked like then, or like little snapshots of me and Kiwi and some of those adventures. That's such a blessing to have, just documenting the journey. But when you go into something bigger than yourself, and you're trying to compete against something that you don't really have any power over, like that idea that I have any control whatsoever on the marketing and advertisements of Facebook as a whole or YouTube as a whole, is ridiculous. So, but at the same time, I believe that getting the right information out there to people that are kind of finding themselves in the same things or noticing these same types of things is important. So that's why I'm even putting forth any effort whatsoever on this topic right now. So back to what I was saying, what I've done on my personal account was, there's so many friend recommendations, and I'm a guy that used to work in door-to-door marketing and lived in multiple cities, been affiliated with a lot of different higher-ups with those companies, and distant acquaintances, for lack of a better word. So I found this interesting part of Facebook. I did today my 700 friends list for my personal Facebook account. I dialed down to under 450, and then I posted that whole, people start feeling like it's a cut, but really it's the people that actually I know, that I've had certain, friendships and years with, or experiences with, like direct involvement in my life one way or another, like my family. Those types of things are the people that I really want to see if I'm going to go on Facebook, which was all built on relationships, the relationships that are real. Now, I see the side of growing your friends, but from a natural standpoint, from this person-to-person thing. It can't effectively actually imitate what real life is. And unfortunately, I feel like it's gotten to a place where it thinks it can. Like it's trying to imitate what we used to do in regular social life. And I don't believe that that should be the case. And on top of that, now they're inundating, like I said, with a bunch of ads. So I found this page, and essentially what it is your ad preferences. Now, at this point, because I've already gone through this process, I'm actually don't really have a direct way of getting here. So let me explain what I did in order to find this. But again, you can look up here and go to facebook.com, ad preferences, advertisers, and then the section is clicked advertisers. There's also ad preferences, ad topics, and ad preferences data. But these should show up. So facebook.com, ad preferences, advertisers. There's a lot of interesting information on this page. And initially what it kind of comes down to, or showed to me, was all the companies, including, like, if I were to look on advertisers whose ads I've actually clicked on at one point or another, there's really not that many. The New Zealand, Canon, I don't know where this one came from, the Olsen Brothers band. So maybe something that was, interesting. Fiverr. But anyway, like, a lot of random things. What I saw in the Social Dilemma is, they're even showing how long you stay on something. So it gets really interesting. But again, back to what I was talking about, what I did is there's those little 3 dots on top of all the advertisements that you go through. So when you see an ad as you're scrolling through your Facebook feed, when you see those ads, you need to actually click on that 3 dots, go document why you don't think. I just put irrelevant. So what it'll ask, like, why don't you want to see this ad? Or you'll hide the ad, and then it'll ask you these question with like 6 or 7 options. I just pushed irrelevant, and then I went to one of the options where it finally popped up after deleting about 7 or 10 right back sequentially. Every single one that was popping up in my Facebook feed, regardless of what it was, I really don't care. I went and put irrelevant, and then eventually this thing popped up where I saw it. It might be there first time, I don't know, for you. But for me, that's what happened. And then you'll want to actually click on the ad preferences. There's like an ad preferences link. That's another way to find your way through the page and also make some necessary actions, my recommended actions, in the process. So that's what I did. Now I'm going to my Facebook feed, and truth be told, for right now anyway, I'm sure this won't last until I go on some other site and, find myself inundated with more ads here and there, that I'm not seeing a single ad. I just went through a good amount. So now I'm actually seeing the people that I know and would care to know what's going on in their lives on my feed, and I'm not having any sponsored ads currently. Now, I guarantee you this will not last, and it's unfortunate that this is kind of the case. But I do think that this is something that people should be paying more attention to. I mean, if the world, or Facebook rather, just saw this mass exodus, I think they'd have to take a little bit closer look. Now, my channel's so small, there's no doubt that I'm not making any type of a dent in this. But, to get this type of information out to people in terms of the ad preferences page, what it is that you should be paying attention to and looking at, because, again, I'm going to pop back over and see if I can find it. But there's like this section within here that when it came to data, so like what information is used to show me ads. We show you ads based on information we have about you and your activity, such as page likes on Facebook. We may also use information we have about others and their activity to show you more relevant ads, which is kind of, in my mind, saying if there's somebody that you know that's paying attention to this ad, then we'll push that over to you as well, which seems irrelevant and ridiculous. And then if personalized ads based on data about your activity from partners are allowed, We can also use data like your activity on websites off of Facebook to decide which ads to show you. So I think it was down here, it's categories, more data about activity from partners, personalized ads. Yeah. So essentially what I've been trying to go through, like all this, and kind of like, it's not even letting me, there it goes. Okay, not allowed. You can choose whether we can show you personalized ads based on data about your activity from partners, and you change your choice at any time. Yeah, you can change it anytime if if you go through all this stupid hassle. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, there, like, this is a section you should probably go through and look at. So categories, turn off, turn off, turn off. And then, yeah, advertisers can choose to show their ads to certain audiences. You may see ads based, because an advertiser has included you in an audience based on your information off of Facebook activity. Advertisers can use or upload a list of information that we can match your profile to show or exclude certain ads. So I've got NFL, GoPro, Oracle. I don't know where Hearts and Science come from, but either way, I'm going to put no for that. But then you have like all kinds of things, and then it's automatically for who can see your social interactions alongside ads. It's already pushed for all friends can see that. That's stupid. So if I like a page, then all my friends on Facebook get to see what I'm looking at. I don't think that these are relevant things that are necessary. And the way that they orchestrate these and build these to automatically be selected for my friends, you know, especially when I was talking about when my whole friends list was a bunch of like random associated people. You know, with the way that online is these days, I think it's important to kind of consider that there's always that weird off chance that you're running into somebody who's really a predator or looking to do you wrong, or, you know, and that's kind of that tricky thing even on YouTube, is that when I upload a lot of things to YouTube, that algorithm is just taking it and throwing it to the masses. Now, of course, on YouTube, a lot of that is a business side as a site, as opposed to Facebook being more of a personal page. You have business pages, of course. I'm not going to go on that rabbit hole. But the point here is that when I upload this to YouTube, for example, I don't know who's watching it. I don't know you for the most part. Now, there's a majority of my subscribers thus far. I think we're still at probably 21. So I just got, legally able to go and do adult recreation. But the fact remains that they get to program, they get to decide, and then they get to hide everything in these back pages, in these back alleyways that you're never really going to find unless you take appropriate front page action and then waste more of your time in the process of utilizing this resource called Facebook to find these types of things. So if there's anything I wanted to say here today via the podcast and in relation to what we've been talking about in terms of advertisements, is take into account that they're building things so that your information is more and more broadcast rather than more and more private. It's the acceleration of lack of privatization and abuse of power, in a sense, for all sorts of not essential things. I won't refrain from saying other things just because I have my own emotions and feelings about it. I had another random event, so I'd love to know if these types of things are happening to you, if you've also found yourself in the same boat. But you'll find yourself on a video on Facebook, or I found myself on a video page. Like if you open it up, as opposed to still maintaining your watch view in the feed, then it throws you into this video catalog. And at one point, all of a sudden the auto scroll goes, because usually it would go, you'll watch this video and then it has a recommended one, just kind of like how YouTube autoplay would work. Just the next one, whatever, the next one, you can scroll as you want, just like a feed. But for whatever reason today, at a specific time, for a specific thing that was going on live, my phone all of a sudden just goes through a whole slew of videos and then lands on this one. And it was, again, obvious to why this was taking place. Just based on what I do in my behind the curtain side work and focus, things I pay attention to. And it seemed so much like more, I don't know, just another one of these signs that this abuse of power via the online web is getting out of hand. I'm on my phone, I'm using it for my own purposes, and then you just get to through and throw me to the wolf and say, this is what we want you to be paying attention to. No, that is not the way this shit is going to go down. And I don't appreciate it, and I just want more people to actually say that. If they feel that, I want them to say that. So anyway, again, this was podcast right now. We're just kind of getting going. We're just figuring things out. These aren't long, or I'm not trying to make them long. I'm doing my best even in post to just kind of cut these things down and keep them simple. But for the sakes of a podcast and continuing on this growth pattern, I do recommend you find your way to Facebook. Take appropriate actions with your social media accounts. Recognize what's actually taking place. And when you do see these little subtle things, and you don't say anything, then again, you are the prey. So I'm going to keep my eye out on these types of things, and I'll do my best to post when they seem pertinent enough to share. I'm just simply on here to say, stop and cut out the bullshit, Facebook. And YouTube, get your shit together, because just because I watch one thing for one day does not mean that you control my freaking everything. Anyway, it's kind of an uncomfortable topic for a lot. I'm sure that not everybody agrees, or, there's a lot of people working on the back end of Facebook via ads, that are using this for their benefit. And I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just trying to shed light on what it is and further the conversation. So thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one as always. Peace.